Welcome back, and I am trying to learn about, I guess, the special menu, and I guess it's part of the context. So there is the subdivide. Whoops. Oh, I see. So what if I move? I see. So let's do this. Let's do that. Let's now. Okay, I see. It's like a little tiny house, a little tiny roof. Alrighty. Darn it, I didn't just start my thing either. Okay, fine. I'm gonna restrict this to 8 minutes so that I can kind of get on track to where I was. Okay. So, vertex specials, edge specials. I see. So, vertex specials. No. Subdivide selected edges. Okay. What's the control E? What does that do? Oh, I see. So that's the edge specials is still control E, but right click menu. I see. Okay, cool. Subdivision surface modifier. A modifier causes some change to the geometry of an object just before it gets rendered. This change does not affect the object as you view and edit it in the 3D view or as stored in the document unless you apply the modifier, which makes the change permanent. This allows you to create some complicated effects at render time while the original mesh stays simple and easy to edit. Modifiers for the active object are applied and controlled in the Modifiers tab in the Properties window. Okay. Subdivision surface modifier, also known as a subsurf modifier, applies the Catmull-Clark interpolation discussed above as a modifier. Being a modifier, it applies to the entire object, not just to selected vertices. But since the original mesh is preserved, you can use it as a control cage to adjust the shape of the interpolated curve. Start with default cube. Okay, so let's do new, general. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Let's start this guy back up. Let's go ahead and drop that back here. Okay. Default cube, select an object mode. As usual, go to the modifiers tab in properties. When you select subdivision surface from the add modifier menu, a new panel appears at the right. Notice the two subdivisions, heading, view, controls. Okay. So, let's go to the modifiers. Let's go to add. Let's go to, what do we got? Subdivision surface modifier. Okay. Oh, interesting. Catmull-Clark, simple. Catmull-Clark. Okay. From the add modifier menu, a new panel appears. It is at the right. Subdivision settings, view controls. Controls the level of subdivision within the 3D view. Well, render applies to the actual render. The higher number of levels, the closer the curve, the interpolated geometry becomes. Having two separate settings for working environment and render allows for faster operation in the 3D view, with the usual trade-off of lower quality while still allow maximum quality for the final render. Because the subdivision surface modifier is so heavily used, there's a set of hotkeys for adding the modifier to the current object if it doesn't already have one. Select and setting the number of subdivision levels in 3D view. Control plus 1 key, control plus 5 key for setting the view levels to 1 to 5 respectively. Let's do something here. But is that going to work here though? Control 1. It does work. Cool. Control Z. Let's say Control 5. Ooh, check that out. It made it look like a smooth ball. Cool. Options. Let's go ahead. Let's actually expand this guy out here. Smooth. Keep corners. Optimal display. View. Render. Quality. So 2. Wouldn't it make more sense? I don't know about this, but wouldn't it make more sense to set this to higher? I don't know what the quality is about, but set render higher and view lower so that you work in view easier. But where it renders out, anyways. Okay, as soon as you add the modifier, the appearance of the cube should change, look something like here at the right with just one level of subdivision. Okay, so let's do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Z. And we'll do Control 1 like that. Okay. View 1, 2, render. Quality 3, interesting. The upper part of the panel from the apply and copy buttons upward is common to all modifiers. Note the X button at the right. Clicking gets rid of the modifier. Notice a group of 4 icons in the middle of the in the middle of the leftmost 2 look like a camera and an eye. The icons are identified as follows from left to right. Oh, let me check something, guys, people. Okay, I'm on the 3rd video. All right. Sometimes I have to actually look and see which video I am on. It is common to all modifiers. Oh, I see. Modifier during render, disable modifier in viewport, display modifier in edit mode, adjust, edit, cage modifier, result. I wonder if, let's see, let's check out these shading deals. Let's do that. Is that going to be, okay, and what about that? That, and then back to normal. Okay, that doesn't really tell me much. That's alright. X, right, I can delete it, okay. Clicking it gets rid of the modifier. Notice also a group of 4 icon buttons, camera and eye. Use the modifier during rendering, show the modifier effect in 3D view. Display modifier in edit mode. Okay, so show the modifier effect in the 3D view in edit mode. If this is unchecked and the previous one is checked, the modifier effect disappears while in edit mode. Show the mesh as though the modifier applied to it in edit mode. Unchecking the first one lets you disable the modifier without losing its settings. The remaining 3 can be handy if you're trying to disentangle the effects of different modifiers during editing. The 3rd button is enabled. The mesh will look like this in edit mode. Oh. No. Here, let's go to tab. Oh. Okay, so now we're in edit mode. I see. Interesting. Very interesting. Alright. The fourth button goes one step further and acts as if the modifier had already been applied while allowing you to edit only those parts of the corresponding to the original mesh. This button affects the behavior of the third button. It cannot be used independently and may disappear if the third button is unchecked. So, I see. Oh, I see. So it's showing you actually how it's modifying. So, it's like putting these like little segments in, right? And kind of squeezing it down. But when I turn this off, it shows you the original vertexes. So I see how the modifier thing works. Okay, so I have about 1 more minute here before I have to go to the next video. Sharpening the curves. Subdivision surface modifier offers much more control over the resulting shape than might be apparent from above. For example, you may not want uniform curvature everywhere. You may want some parts of the shape to have sharper edges. This can be achieved in 2 ways. By applying a crease value to the selected edges, by strategic positioning of additional vertices in the control cage mesh. Applying a crease. And let's actually move this back down to 1 here. Oop. 1. Okay. So, we will get to, let's go ahead and get to this applying crease thing in the next video. So I will see you in a few hours. For me, it'll be a minute. So talk to you later.